Good morning, Alina.
Good morning, Tina. What time is it in Valencia?
It's around 9. I woke up really early today. I think we both early birds, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And today we have something exciting to discuss. If you remember, back in September, we started a reality show with Kim, kind of a reality. Kim is a beginner student, and the idea was to see how much someone can learn from just 20 minutes classes once a week. We had 11 classes and covered the basics: present simple, present continuous, and past simple. So now we are asking the big question: can you effectively communicate using only basic grammar?
Yeah, it is an important question, as most students find English grammar really difficult, whilst we are now talking only using grammatical structures, simple grammatical structures, and it is going great. I suggest we take this challenge for today's podcast that we can speak only using present simple, present continuous, and past simple. All right?
Challenge accepted. Yeah. But to make it even more dynamic, let's include some examples from English speaking celebrities.
Yeah, and before we start, we have to inform our audience that we are using video materials from other YouTube channels and we respect copyrights and provide all links to original materials in the descriptions to our video below.
Perfect. Now, here is a fun fact. Even when grammar is simple, vocabulary can still be tricky for beginners. So let's look at a few key words from the first video. So the first one is pick up, to lift something or someone from a surface. For example, a little girl is picking up some stones.
So next one is to rescue, means to save someone or something from danger or a bad situation. The firefighter rescued the woman from the burning house.
Shelter, a safe place where someone or something is protected from danger, bad weather, or harm. For instance, you can see a shelter built in the forest.
To own, to have something that belongs to you. The guy owns a house.
An orphan, a child whose parents have died.
Homeless means someone who does not have a home to live in. Now that we got the vocabulary, let's watch one of my favorite moments with Salma Hayek.
Where'd you find Ocho? What is this?
Okay, I pick up dogs from the street. Not even rescue from the shelter. I pick them up from the street.
Even if other people own them, you don't care. You're allowed to do that. You're Salma Hayek. You can do whatever you want to do.
Usually are orphans that are homeless and orphans, and I can't take it.
How many dogs do you have?
At the moment, 9.
As we can see, Salma Hayek has an accent, but it doesn't stop her from speaking fluently and confidently. In fact, she embraces it, which is quite inspiring. And she stays true to herself, and she's also seems to be proud of her roots, providing that you don't need to erase your identity to speak great English. Some learners try to hide or erase their accents, but is it really necessary? In my opinion, confidence and fluency matter more.
Yeah, Salma Hayek, as we know, is a Mexican-American actress, and you can clearly hear her Spanish accent. She has a very lively manner of speaking, as we can see, and she's very vibrant and energetic person, and it reflects her in the manner of speaking. And I would say that this is one of those cases where an accent adds charm and fits so naturally into a person's image, making it very easy for the listener to perceive.
Before we start watching the next part of this episode, let me introduce 2 new words which we're gonna need. First one is a hamster, a small and furry animal often kept as a pet. A photo is here. An issue, which is a synonym to a problem.
And well, no more animals because we had an issue with a hamster that he hates hamsters. So he said no more animals.
I love it. Let's not even bring up the story. Yeah. We had an issue with a hamster. Let's just not get into it. Anyway, he hates hamsters.
So no more animals. It's enough. 30 animals. It's enough for anyone.
To have an affair, to secretly have a romantic or sexual relationship with someone who is not your partner.
How am I gonna tell him? He's gonna kill me. So I came up with a brilliant plan. I said, I'm gonna pretend, I'm gonna make him believe that I'm having an affair. And at the end, I explain it's not an affair.
We explained this.
Yes, yes. I called him up and I said, we need to talk. And I'm not that kind of girl. I never do the we need to talk thing, so he was scared when I said we need to talk.
In this next clip, Salma uses simple grammar to tell her story, providing that we can share meaningful life experiences even with basic grammar.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound flat at all.
Working so much, I'm so tired, I'm so overworked. And I'm so lonely. The combination is lethal when you're so lonely and so overworked and you don't think straight. And in this moment of madness, he goes, oh, please don't tell me you picked up another dog.
Alina, do you have a pet?
No, I don't. I love animals, but my lifestyle doesn't give me enough time to take care of a pet. I travel, I work a lot and train even more. So it isn't fair to them. But Tina, you are very busy too, and you still take care of your beautiful cat. How do you manage?
Yes, I have a massive Maine Coon. It's really huge, like 10 kilos, and at times it can be quite a challenge because you often find yourself tied to the house. But thanks God I have friends who lives in my neighborhood and they are always ready to help me if I'm out of home. Did you have pets when you were a child?
Yeah, I did. I had a big black shepherd.
Wow.
Usually shepherds are brown and black, but mine was black. What about you?
Yeah, then I was a child. We had actually a lot of animals, and many of them were rescued from the street. Some we got on purpose. And I had a wonderful dog that lived with us 13 years. I'm sure that when a family get pets, it has a very positive impact on children, if done wisely, of course. I know for sure that my dog taught me responsibility. When we got a dog, my mom said that since I was the one who initiated the idea of getting one, I was obligated to walk, trained, and feed it. And it had a huge impact on me because I remember waking up and taking her for a walk at 5 or 6 in the morning on a cold winter mornings because she needed to go to the toilet. Yeah, she was a puppy and you had to train her to go to the toilet on clock, like on schedule. That's why I think it's a good way to learn child how to be responsible. And by the
Agree.
way, I'm glad that people now are becoming more educated in matters of keeping pets. There are shelters for animals opening and many ways to help animals.
Yeah, it is actually great how people's attitude toward animals is changing now. And for example, people like me who cannot have pets, they can still contribute to their well-being in other ways. Like, by the way, one of my students told me about cats cafes. Like anyone can come and play with cats for as long as they want and at a very affordable price. I mean, how awesome is that? You can come somewhere, play with cats, relax, and even do your work. My student does her homework there. And however, it is not a new concept. But when I was a child, people were not ready for such extravaganza things. Okay, going back to our research, I have one more video from the Tonight Show. This time, let's watch charming Anne Hathaway speaking about her early achievements.
Oh, all right. She's lovely.
I have some facts that I don't know if they're real or fake that I got off the internet about you growing up. And I just wanted to ask you and maybe see
About me growing up in
yes,
New Jersey.
in New Jersey, yes. And see if any of these are real or true,
Oh, this
or what's
is
the or if there's any story behind them. No, these are all kind of interesting.
Okay.
They're all good.
Okay.
But here's one. Anne Hathaway once won a free throw shooting contest.
Yeah, we can clearly see that past simple works perfect when it comes to conversations about the past, right?
Yeah, and it is actually the foundation of the language. It allows us to talk about the past and leave those things behind, making our speech clear and direct.
Yeah, in the episode, Anne Hathaway speaks about a talent contest, and it resonates me because I started playing piano when I was 8, and I was quite a promised child, and I took part in numerous musical competitions through all my school life. What about you?
It seems like it's hard to avoid competitions as a child. I am still competitive, by the way. I guess that's where my triathlon training comes from. One competition I do remember from my early years was a language contest. We had to write an academic essay, and mine took the second prize in the region. That was huge for me.
Oh, really? I didn't know about that. It sounds very impressive. Okay, let's continue watching Anne sharing her memories.
I mean, yes, but I didn't win.
Okay.
It was the Knights of Columbus.
Yes. The Knights of Columbus. You said, yeah.
Sponsored a free throw competition when I was 10, maybe, and I won the first round.
You did.
But then I choked when we got to states, and so I did not win. But
Well,
I won a little bit.
I have to warn you that I had to cut each video into short pieces, each lasting a maximum of 30 seconds to avoid YouTube bans. I hope we can avoid them. So even though it is intriguing to know what competition Anne Hathaway won, we need to take a pause, and now we can go back to watching it.
And I didn't win, but I did come in third.
You didn't. What was your talent?
I don't know that you would call it that, but I sang a song called Johnny One Note, which was a Judy Garland song. But it was like crazy because the girl who won was this classically trained pianist, and she played this unbelievably difficult sonata.
Tina, I have to stop here. Is there anything we need to know about your past?
It could be me, but I was too far from New Jersey, and at that moment I lived in a very small mining town, and I think there was nothing even close to New Jersey.
That girl playing the sonata wasn't you. Got it.
I went up there like 9-year-old me, and the downbeat hit, and the mic came up, and I remember this, right hand holding the mic, left hand just went, and I stayed like that the entire song.
Did you have a costume for this?
I did. Oh my God, yes. My mom went to a thrift store.
Yeah.
And she got me this little white bolero jacket. A bolero jacket is one that comes to here with this like tiny little collar. And then, guys, she took red and black felt and cut music notes.
Come on.
And glued them on and then glued glitter on top
That's
of that.
what I'm talking about. Mom, come on.
Mom.
I have a moving story about my mom too. At school, we had lots of drama shows, literally one big show after every term. Maybe it's connected to the huge role of literature in Russian culture. But anyway, one event was dedicated to Pushkin's genius, and we staged the tale of the fisherman and the fish. I was the goldfish.
Wow.
Or golden fish, yeah. I remember my mom spent an entire night sewing a golden brocade jumpsuit for me. It was shining. And she even made a crown. It was incredible. And I also have to add that I was a shy child. Participating in this kind of events was a torture for me. But in that jumpsuit and in the crown, I felt like $1 million.
That's so sweet. That's so sweet. Do you have any photos?
No, I don't. But I remember feeling like the most beautiful girl that day. Maybe I have some, but I have to check with my mom. By the way, what's your brightest memory from school?
Actually, we didn't have a theater at school. I remember my brightest memory was the fact that I took second place in the town in the English exam that I was in my senior year. I was so proud of myself because there were only two students in the whole town who took the third and the second place, and it was incredible.
Going back to our topic, some people might agree that, okay, we watched these videos and basic tenses are suitable for casual conversations. But for serious things, you need much more than that. Let me first play the last video for today, and then we will have a chance to discuss.
Okay.
I also say this, you go to Portland where they wrapped police officers, shot police officers, nothing happened to anybody. You go to Seattle where they took over a big chunk of the city and people died. Portland, a lot of people died. Wait a minute. And you go also take a look at Minneapolis, because I was there and I watched it. If I didn't bring in the National Guard, that city wouldn't even exist today. People were killed and nobody went to jail.
Here we see the President Trump on what I think is the second day of his presidency, answering journalists' questions.
Yeah, the questions are not casual, they are matters of the day. And this is another example of how basic grammar can still be effective. He frequently relies on basic grammatical structures like present simple and past simple, which makes his speech easy to follow even for people with basic understanding of English. It's worth saying Donald Trump's manner of speaking is very simple and quite straightforward.
Yeah, agree. And let's see how past simple helps him to share facts.
Joe Biden gave a pardon yesterday to a lot of criminals. These are criminals that he gave a pardon to. Why did he give a pardon to all of these people that committed crimes? Why did he give a pardon to the J6 Unselect Committee when they burned and destroyed all documents which showed that they did what was wrong, not me? Wait a minute.
He often uses short sentences and repeats key words and ideas to drive his point home. At first, it might seem like he speaks in a complicated way, but actually, the complexity comes from two things: his strong topic specific vocabulary and his super chill way of speaking. Just notice how he talks. His words aren't super clear. Instead, he speaks in a laid back, relaxed manner, and this creates the impression of confidence and fluency, even though his grammar and diction isn't always polished.
Yeah, so here we come to the point where not only grammar and vocabulary matter, but also how you speak matters.
So true.
Present tenses are also great for criticism, and he likes that, and expressing disapproval.
They have a valve and it turns like, think of a sink, but multiply it times many thousands of times the size of it. It's massive. And you turn it back toward Los Angeles. Why aren't they doing it? They either have a death wish, they're stupid, or there's something else going on that we don't understand. But we want the water that they're throwing away to be used for California.
I think it would be hard to find another politician who expresses himself so openly.
Yeah, I like his manner of speaking.
I said, do you have a drought? No. I said, what do you mean you don't have a drought? Look at the thing. It's dry as a bone. The reason you have like an acre is because they say you can farm 1 acre, but no more, because they didn't want to waste water. But they throw the water into the Pacific Ocean. These people are crazy.
One of the most challenging grammar rules is going from direct speech to reported speech. And this speech is a great example how you can avoid struggle and manage using present tenses.
Yeah, often you can skip reported speech entirely. Ignoring things can help you avoid a lot of problems. And you know what else helps? Money. Basic grammar gives you the tools to talk about big money.
That's true.
Think of it. You have an asset that has no value or has $1 trillion value. It all depends on whether or not the United States gives the permit. So what I'm saying is let the United States give the permit and the United States should get half. Sounds reasonable. What do you think?
Sounds like a good deal to me, Mr. President.
Yeah. He can afford it too.
So we started today's podcast from a challenge. Do you think we managed to provide enough evidence that basic grammar tenses allows us to communicate effectively?
First of all, I want to say that we nailed it. I mean, the whole video is in simple grammar structures. Okay, maybe once or twice we used conditionals, but only easy ones. To answer your question, I think we've provided enough proof and examples to show how you can express yourself and have effective conversations using just basic grammar, as long as you use it confidently and consciously.
I would also want to add what really matters and makes you sound fluent is broad vocabulary that makes real difference. Sometimes we are so focused on grammar and get so confused, whilst the way to improve your English can be much easier. Work on your vocabulary range, learn how to use words appropriately, and learn meanings, contexts, and phrases.
Absolutely. Of course, we only picked specific moments for our video. Trump, Salma Hayek, and Hathaway, they all use various grammar structures, including complex ones, but they do it only when it is appropriate without unnecessary complexity. I'm convinced that the key to fluency is a solid foundation and a wide vocabulary.
Yeah, can't agree with you more. What are you going to study next with Akim?
In the coming weeks, we will focus on grammar practice and vocabulary building. My goal is to guide Akim and help him feel confident using basic grammar tenses while adding more new words to his active vocabulary.
Okay, it will be interesting to watch his progress. And that's it for today's episode. I hope that we showed that speaking English doesn't have to be complicated. Using simple grammar is not only okay, it's effective.
Yeah, so don't be afraid to stick to the basics and focus on making yourself understood. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And see you in the next videos.
See you in the next videos. Bye.